We are so pleased to have on set today Bob Betters, who is the president of the Plymouth Education Foundation. Welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
Nice to have you here. There's so much about the Plymouth Ed Foundation that is fascinating and wonderful.
Nice
so
to know.
For people that don't know a little bit about it, it was founded in 2008.
It was.
It's a 501c3, so it's a nonprofit. And the purpose of the foundation is to do what?
The purpose of the foundation primarily is to fund student endeavors that are not reliant on tax-based revenue. So we're looking for programs particularly that are different, that are unique, that supplement classroom-based
learning in any way.
Learning. Exactly.
And is this available? Are the grants and the monies that you give for the different programs, are they available in the K through 12, or is there a certain? It is.
Yes.
So it's around the gamut.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Do mostly students come up with the ideas of what they want, or do the teachers, or is it a combo?
Well, I think it's primarily teachers and administrators who submit the grant applications. We have had some from students wanting to go to different programs or for travel or that type of thing, and we have funded some of those. But primarily it's applications that are submitted by teachers and administrators.
Okay.
And anything that we get in terms of an application submitted by a teacher has to be signed off by the relevant administrator.
Sure.
So we try to make sure that it's coordinated with what the school department is doing.
Okay. So we'll talk a little bit more about grants in a minute, but you also give scholarships.
We do.
So talk about that.
Right now, this year, we're providing 4 Plymouth Education Foundation scholarships, each in the amount of $2,500, 2 for Plymouth North and 2 for Plymouth South.
Which is really, that's a nice amount.
It is. That's a nice amount. We've increased it over the years. Last year and years before it was $2,000, but we've increased it to $2,500 per scholarship this year. We also administer funds that came from Adele Manfredi's parents.
Okay, and that was a
Dr.
separate
and Mrs.
scholarship
Adele.
fund?
That was a scholarship fund that they had created some years ago that Adele was managing. And then when we created the Education Foundation, she transferred those funds to us to manage. And that's $1,000 a year that alternates between a Plymouth North and a Plymouth South student.
Great. And approximately how many applications do you get for those $2,500 scholarships each year?
We don't get involved in the application process.
Okay.
We leave that to the scholarship committee for the school department.
Okay.
So they basically vet the students, they determine who should be the recipients, and we cut the checks.
And you provide the checks for it.
Right.
Okay. Now, to date, you've given over $100,000 in grants.
Grants and scholarships.
And scholarships.
Yes.
To the students and the faculty of the Plymouth school system, which is amazing. You have an endowment which exceeds $800,000 at this point. Some people don't understand what an endowment is, so can you talk about that, how it's funded and what the purpose is?
So when we created the Education Foundation more than 10 years ago, the goal was to do 2 things. The goal was to create an endowment, which is a fund for which the principal is not used.
Okay.
So that it's the fund is designed to generate income that's then used for educational purposes. So we wanted the Education Foundation to be permanent. We wanted it to have a long-lasting effect. The way to do that is to grow the endowment so that the principal remains untouched. It's invested, and the income, assuming funds ever generate income again.
As soon as the stock market doesn't completely tank.
Exactly. You know, to use it. So that was one of our primary goals, and we try to set aside 50% of the funds that we raise for the endowment.
Oh, wow.
But we also wanted to make a difference right away. We didn't want to just hold on to the funds. So we wanted to create an immediate impact. So the other 50% we use, some for administrative expenses, but at least 40% of what we generate we use for grants and for scholarships.
For grants and scholarships. Can you give me, now I know we talked before we went on the air about some of the different types of activities or subjects that were covered in your grants, and they include playgrounds and music, robotics, sustainable agriculture, iPod grants for math. So your grants really cover the gamut.
They do. As I indicated, we try to look at things that are different and unique and that are going to make a difference. I mean, we look at education as a multifaceted process. It's not just classroom and learning, et cetera. Obviously extremely important, but also experience and also being involved in the community and also doing things that, you know, students have a desire to do, you know, kind of independent of kind of classroom activities. So we looked at things that are different and unique, and been surprised at the gamut of applications that we have. Some have been, very unique.
Yeah.
Sustainable agriculture, type
That's
grants
different.
and that
Yeah.
type of thing. We've done a lot for playground renovations,
Yeah.
for example.
Oh, perfect.
And we've also partnered with other foundations in the area. And educational activities. I mentioned Chamber of
The
Commerce
Chamber,
has
yep.
the Jumpstart program that we've donated to over a number of years that essentially provides funds for certificate programs at community colleges. And again, to provide alternatives
Sure.
to
So
college or community
It's all about
college.
lifting up the students.
Yeah, exactly.
At whatever point they're in their careers.
And
the
so
students.
that's great. The Plymouth Philharmonic we've done
Yep.
grants with
Yep.
for music programs for students, Pilgrim Hall Museum.
Right.
And then we provided an initial grant early on when we started to the library for adult literacy.
All wonderful things.
So even though we're focusing primarily on students and school endeavors, public school
Right.
endeavors, et cetera, we also looking at
Yep.
partnering with
Because
other
we're connected.
foundations.
We're all connected, which
Yeah.
especially in this community. Okay, now the Adele Manfredi Award is given out each year.
Yes.
And that is an award that's based on Adele, who was someone who was very, very involved in the Plymouth school system.
And she was very involved in our foundation.
Yep.
She was one of the founding members. So she was involved right at the get-go. And so a lot of the organization that we've done, a lot of the mission and vision that we had was Adele's. And when Adele passed away, we decided the best way to honor her would be to provide this award,
Yeah.
which we present annually at our gala. So
Okay.
that's one of the things that we do at our Valentine
And this
Gala.
year it's going to go to the family of Dick Silva, who
It is.
unfortunately passed away this past May. And you can read about him on your website. It
Yes.
gives a kind of a background of why you're giving it to him, and it's really, it's touching and it's moving. Now let's talk in our last minute about the Valentine Gala, because this is your big fundraiser.
It is. This is our 9th annual gala,
Yeah.
and that is our primary fundraiser. This year, it is Saturday, February 9th at Waverly Oaks.
Yep.
We've kind of changed the venue over the years.
Okay.
This year, it's going to be at Waverly,
Yeah.
6 to 11.
Yeah.
Reservations, we don't have tickets per se, but
Yep,
reservations can be made on
and
our
it's
website.
kind of swanky, right?
Well, it's black tie optional.
Well, you want that.
But,
That's fun.
that's kind of one of the things that we decided to have it black tie
Yeah,
optional.
it raises the level.
Yeah, and actually this year is kind of different. For the first 8 galas, we focused a lot on live and silent auctions.
Yep.
We're not doing that this year.
Oh.
We're focusing more on a community celebration and more on scholarships and donations
Yeah.
ahead of time.
Great.
Rather than having people think about writing checks
Right.
or bidding.
Right.
So we have the Fay Band to provide.
Yeah, which is nice.
you
Live
know,
music, live
live
entertainment.
music, dancing, et
Yeah.
cetera. So we're focusing on, again, a community celebration, less on the fundraising, but we're encouraging people to provide sponsorships
Sure.
and donations
Sure.
ahead of time, which they can do on the website.
Right, and it's Plymouth Foundation, PlymouthEducationFoundation.org.
.org.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. This went like that.
My pleasure.
It was great to have you and great to find out about the Plymouth Education Foundation.
Great
Thank
to be
you, Bob.
here. Thank you.